New teachers given unfamiliar curriculums to fill staff shortages. Timorese survivors share stories of suffering on National Day of Truth and Dignity. 16-year-old signs for Simusar FC in Timor-Leste's top women's football competition. Welcome back to RTTL World News. I'm Zeri Madeira. The Ministry of Education early this month deployed hundreds of newly hired teachers across urban and rural areas to fill in critical teacher shortages across Timor-Leste, but these assignments often diverge from the teachers' areas of expertise. Some education professionals say adaptability is necessary to fill teacher requirements, while others are struggling to adjust to unfamiliar subjects.
Dominguez Ines is adapting to a new environment of teaching young pupils.
Before I applied for the government's new teaching position, I was teaching at the private secondary school of Inmaculada Coração de Maria in Tibar.
Dominguez is a physics major and part of a new wave of teachers assigned to subjects outside their expertise.
My area of expertise is physics. I studied physics at UNTL.
Now she is teaching 9 different subjects at the primary school of Fatumeta per week.
Currently, I am teaching general studies for elementary school, so it's a wide range of subjects.
Ms. Ines finds the curriculum for the elementary school challenging.
I was teaching a secondary school before, and the curriculum was totally different. The curriculum for the 1st to 7th grade now is totally new.
For Felicidade da Costa, who also previously taught secondary school students, teaching young pupils has its own challenges.
The problem is I was used to teaching older students, but here I teach a very young children, but I hope I can adapt soon.
Both teachers applied to teach secondary school in 2025, but they are placed in elementary school instead. To bridge the expertise gap, senior teaching staff are stepping in to guide the new recruits facing the unique challenges of teaching young pupils.
We are here for only 2 weeks, and since last week, we started to have mentoring from senior teaching staff.
The mentors here guide us on how to teach young students.
The addition of the new educators is crucial for the school to meet its operational requirements.
These teachers are placed here based on our request to the Ministry of Education.
The school got 9 new teachers, and most of them are teaching out of their fields of expertise. Some of them even have master's degrees in economic and political science studies. RTTL World News reached out to the Ministry of Education for an interview, but received no reply. But over the weekend, the Ministry of Education posted on its official Facebook page regarding the teacher placements. The ministry says a wave of retirements in primary education has forced them to fill the gap with those teachers qualified for secondary education.
Those teachers who passed the testing to teach secondary schools were on the waiting list for placement. But the needs were to teach basic schools where many teachers were retired. So the ministry summoned those on the waiting list to fill the gaps in the basic schools.
For now, educators like Dominguez and Felicidade are leaning on the experience of their peers to navigate this unexpected start to their teaching careers. Alianza Nunes and Judas Magno, RTTL World News.
The National Day of Truth and Dignity was commemorated by women's and children's advocacy groups and their supporters last week. Pirilampo Group and partners marked the day with an event in Farol, with victims recalling at their memories of suffering and struggle and demanding justice.
Rosa Bello is a mother of 7 who still lives in the shadow of her painful past.
Between 1974 and 1975, we faced a very difficult challenge, like a stone that can't be broken with a big hammer.
She is now 72, but the memories still linger. Through tears, Roja told RTTL about the physical and sexual violence she experienced many years ago.
I had 2 children at that time. I gave birth to one of them in a cave. My husband was a gunman. He left for the forest with his 2 commanders and left us alone. I carried one and held the other in my arms, and we went into the woods. There was no food and water to drink. I was captured by the Indonesian army. They took me to the village, asked me many things about my husband, burned me and beat me.
Other victims and their families shared similar stories. Idelina's mother was the victim of a sexual violation, and she and her family have faced ridicule ever since.
They always say bad things to us, calling us the wife or child of Indonesian military. We feel very sad and shocked, but we said nothing. We can just only write these words in our heart with the ink of tears.
Idelina called for protection from the government while asking for more understanding from the community.
I ask for government protection of the community, especially the survivors. We don't ask for money and riches, but we just want to write our mother's stories on the stone or iron that could be touched by waves or rain but would not be destroyed.
Pirilampu is a group that brings together mothers who suffer from violence in the period of Indonesian occupation between 1974 and 1999. Together with partners Asia Justice and Rights, Azar, and Shega for Us Association, the event highlighted survivors' rights and spoke against discrimination and injustice.
This commemoration is to remind the public and authorities that we are indebted to those who suffered for independence. We have been independent for 24 years, but haven't done anything significant to respect their right for dignity and reparation.
The Ombudsman for Human Rights and Justice shared their concerns.
All we want is to suggest the government to start discussing the concept be recognized. We have to make a difference between dying in war and the mothers who became victims of sexual violence and abuse by the Indonesian military.
And hope the government will increase justice sector investment to highlight truth and dignity in our society.
The performance of state services, especially justice sectors, need to be centralized. Resources investment should be made to also increase the prosecutors to serve the community.
Running throughout the afternoon, the event included artistic activities and musical performances, supporting survivors to express their feelings through painting and collage. RTTL World News.
NGOs have revealed the impacts of livelihood programs in rural Timor-Leste. Mary Makilab today and Breathing Peoples hosted a workshop in Gleno empowering local farmers and women with skills to expand their farming operations.
Setting the stage for new initiatives in the communities that need them most. Mary McClub today's country director says the NGO's expansion into Gleno reflects an ongoing commitment to empowering rural communities.
We want to expand into other places because the 5 villages in Railaku have shown a positive result.
Pedro Rosario Jesus, one of the beneficiaries in Railaku, shared his experience after receiving assistance from the Livelihood program.
How involved in a group?
I'm involved in a group supported by Mary McKillop. Our cooperative is called Behalf Cooperative Union. Through the cooperative, I have been able to access credit, run a small business by opening a kiosk, build my own house, and purchase a vehicle.
Local authorities and government stakeholders joined a seminar to review achievements and plan for the future. International research and consulting agency Bridging Peoples presented the impact of Mary McKillop today's work ahead of implementing the project in Glenelg.
Our team worked together with Mary McKillop today for probably about 6 months, going together with coffee farmers, vanilla farmers, farmers doing various activities such as horticulture, etc., in order to understand what their strengths are, in order to understand what their realities are, to help Mary McKillop today develop a program which will suit communities' needs, and that's in Postal Railaco.
Program beneficiaries, local authorities, and government stakeholders are directly involved in discussions to shape ideas.
As the local authority, I feel proud and thankful for all of you who empower our communities and women in rural areas.
So we try to introduce to the community and the local authority that we have a market. Now that we encourage local authority to convey the information to their community that now time for them to make more product, to produce more product in terms of the quality, the quantity, and they have to produce more various of product.
Bridging Peoples recommended improving the connection between the fields and the market.
That there's great potential in Railaco and in Ermeda generally. There's huge potential around horticulture, around coffee, around vanilla, around other production as well. But a key gap is linkage with markets. So that needs to be improved. And that is probably our primary recommendation to not only Mary McKillop today, but really for any organisation working to support farmers and cooperatives.
Meanwhile, Juanico dos Santos, a person living with a disability, shared his hope that Mary McKillop today's programs can involve a diverse range of participants.
My hope for the future is that the Mary McKillop group can provide support to people with disabilities so that we are able to run our own businesses.
Mr. Baltazar said all suggestions provided by the community, consultants, authorities, and stakeholders will be considered for future programs.
Submitted to us, and then we will consider to integrate those ideas or incorporate those ideas into our project design we call the logical framework, and how we can proceed the project implementation on the ground. So this is very important. That's why we encourage all the participants to be active and participate in all the discussions.
The 4 Glenelg villages targeted to receive Mary McKillop today's support are Lihu, Matata, Fatukeru, and Luri. Jagedes, RTTL World News.
3 talented local artists and their teams will be traveling to Italy for the 2026 Venice Biennale in May. In part 2 of our virtual interview with the curator of Timor-Leste's pavilion, Loredana Pasini Parecciani, she discusses the theme of this year's exhibition and its significance to Timor-Leste's wider arts sector.
Can you explain the theme of this year's exhibition?
As you know, the pavilion is titled Across Words, and it really is focused on an investigation of the significance of language in Timor-Leste. There are over 30 local languages, living languages. There are 2 national languages, Tetum and Portuguese. There are several daily languages such as English and Bahasa Indonesian. And I've realized through all my research trips that great pride is taken by each one of the person I spoke to in relation to their origins, their municipality, and their own language. representative language. So in that, Taishdon obviously, in a sense, represents all that, represents the importance of language, written language in a context where oral language is the way to communicate in Timor-Leste. So Donna Veronica was the first artist that we invited, and then with Edson and Juventino, as they came along, they developed new works, a new commissions, sound and video installation that relate to the concept of across words and relate very much to the work by Donna Veronica, the Taishdon.
What does it mean to these three artists and to Timor-Leste as a young nation to be involved in the Venice Biennale?
The Venice Biennale is called otherwise the Olympics of the art. It's the most important, prestigious art event in the world. The Venice Biennale itself is 120 years old. It's the only biennale that is established through national pavilions. There is a lot of pressures, of course, on every national pavilion to represent the best of their country. It's a turning point, I would say, for artists to be able to show at the Venice Biennale and to be placed on the map, on a very international map, where most important critics and other artists and museums, directors will visit and be part of the especially the preview events. So it's a great opportunity for all of us, for the artists and for Timor-Leste to be at the Venice Biennale for the second consecutive year. But this year is even more visible Timor-Leste because it's at the Arsenale, and the Arsenale, as you know, is one of the two main venues for the Biennale. One is Giardini, and the other one is the Arsenale. So being at the Arsenale really gives us a lot of prestige, but also the opportunity to engage with the really broad and wider audience.
What else is involved in preparing for the exhibition?
And this has been the journey so far. So we started in April in 2025, slowly making important steps, such as finding the venue, securing the venue, the Arsenale, securing the artists, developing new works with Juventino and Edson, working on the pavilion publication, which is actually very important for us. It's the very first anthology on Timor-Leste arts and culture. From my perspective as a Southeast Asian curator and scholar that works within Southeast Asia, has been very important to place Timor-Leste within Southeast Asia. Of course, we all know the importance of Timor-Leste having joined ASEAN in October 2025. So the anthology places Timor-Leste in Southeast Asia also from a literary perspective. We have invited 10 writers and scholars and academics and various professionals to contribute to the anthology from Timor-Leste and elsewhere, and Southeast Asia and abroad. And each of these writing open up a door or a window on Timor-Leste from personal perspectives. Maybe the writers have been in Timor-Leste or they had their own perspective to share. Some writers respond directly to the works in the pavilion. So there are interviews as well. So the anthology will be released at the time of the opening of the pavilion, and the two really elements complement each other. The pavilion in proposing amazing artists and amazing works, and the anthology in supporting these works through literary contributions.
What is the process between now and the exhibition opening in May?
So from now on, we still continue to work very, very hard. Now is approaching the time of the opening of the pavilion, which will open to the public on May 9. So we hope to see many of you as well, many different professionals and wider public from Timor-Leste and from elsewhere, because what is important for us is really to share the richness of Timor-Leste on an international stage.
We really appreciate for your time to share with us at RTTL World News. Thank you, Mana.
Thank you.
It's a rare find with a sweet twist. A variety of cooking apple once thought to be extinct has been rediscovered in the New South Wales, southern Tablelands. It's called the Rama apple, and Australia is one of only 4 countries known to grow it. But with fewer than a dozen trees known to exist worldwide, the race is on to save it.
Having grown up on an orchard, Rudy Stasho knows his apples.
I only know them as rhymers, and I've known them as rhymers since I was about 8 years old.
But he didn't know just how rare these ones might be, until local cider maker Gary Sully noticed them and alerted a network of apple enthusiasts in his native Wales.
So I jumped out of my chair, so delighted.
Dr. Ainsley Rice says rhymers were considered extinct until 1995, when his group began finding the odd tree, 6 in Wales, 1 in India and another in the US.
The last time we found one was 2005.
To add a 4th country to that list, they needed proof.
So he wanted to test our rhymers against his rhymers.
So Gary collected DNA. And late last year, the results came back with a perfect match.
I think of all the varieties that we have accredited, it was the one that was far and away the most clear-cut, involved the largest number of people, and occurred over the longest period of time.
I did get a little bit emotional.
Gary has now been propagating dozens of seedlings, growing the rhymer beyond its core.
Oh boy, that is so sharp.
Making her debut at only 16 years old, a young Simusir FC player was named one of the players of the tournament in Timor-Leste's top women's football competition. Fireila Souza Soriano was rewarded for successfully leading her team to the 2026 Women's Football League title.
Tears rang out as Samusers FC players celebrated their league title. 16-year-old Fireila Souza da Silva Soriano shared the triumphant moment with her parents after being named player of the tournament.
I dedicate this to my father and mother, who have supported me with their prayers and the opportunities they have given me to practice soccer. Today marks a historic day for me and for them, as I can win this medal as a champion and as the best player.
Fireila became the pride of her family, who always supported her football ambitions.
I am proud of her talent. We have always supported her since she was in junior high school, and we never stopped her from playing football. We are grateful to her coaches and all her friends.
Fireila's career was launched just 6 years ago in Koika Training Academy, but it has skyrocketed since making her debut in Timor-Leste Women's Football League.
I never thought I would be the best player. My thanks goes to our team and all the senior players.
Playing alongside Fireila, her fellow Samusir FC centre-back, Nivea Jimenez, was named as the tournament's best young player.
I feel very happy. It's the first time this has happened in my life.
Samusir FC's coach said the defenders deserve their individual award.
They play aggressively and defend very well for our team, so they deserve it.
Meanwhile, the top scorer in the Timor-Leste Women's Football League was achieved by Maria from RTTL Laulara. 10 teams competed in Timor-Leste's Women's League, which ran from October last year and concluded on the weekend. The final match between Samusar FC and RTTL Laulara resulted in a 0-0 draw, with Samusar climbing the title with 45 league points. Jageres, RTTL World News.
And now the weather with Alianza Nunes.
Thanks, Jerry. Here is the weather for tomorrow, starting with Dili. A sunny morning followed by increasing cloud and afternoon showers, a top of 31 and a low of 22. Humid and partly cloudy in Baucau, a top temperature of 29 and a low of 20. In Loting, partly cloudy with scattered showers, temperatures ranging between 29 and 22 degrees. Humid and overcast in Bobonaro, a top temperature of 28 and a low of 17. In Aileo, overcast with a couple of showers, temperatures ranging between 26 and 15. Now looking abroad. In Kupang, cloudy with scattered showers, a top temperature of 31 and a low of 23. Bali, partly cloudy with the chance of a thunderstorm, a high of 35 and a low of 21. Mostly cloudy with occasional rain and a thunderstorm in Jakarta, a top of 31 and a low of 24 degrees. Low cloud in Seoul, a high of 19 and a low of 10. Sun through high clouds in Dowring, a top temperature of 33 and a low of 24. In Sydney, scattered showers in the morning, otherwise partly cloudy, a high of 24 and a low of 16. Mostly sunny and breezy in Lisbon, temperatures ranging between 21 and 11. In London, mostly cloudy with a top of 14 and a low of 10. Low clouds over in Belfast, a top temperature of 13 and a low of 9. That's all for now. Back to you, Jerry.
Thanks, Alianza, and thanks for joining us again on the program. RTTL World News will be back with more stories on Thursday. Bye for now.